Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Today's agriculture society. Agriculture society's character is gather. Okay. 智. It looks a little bit more complicated, right? And simplified traditional looks the same. And we will look at the script dictionary form back 2,000 years ago. It looks like this. Left side here is crop. So we have the root of the crop, the sun facing leaves, branches of the crop, and the tip weighted down by supposedly grains when it's ripening. And that's how we differentiate non-edible forms of trees or plant form versus edible that have these grains. That's what we want. That's what we plan for. And that's what we gather in this case. This gathering next to the crop, but the right side is 5 hand finger. I mean, 5 finger hand. We have all 5 fingers on there. And then the middle finger, Chinese have no concept of middle finger specialty as English body language. So it doesn't mean Chinese signify the middle finger bended toward the right of any significance as it means to the English readers or language users. Then this right band simply serves as a differentiator because we have the hair symbol, which is fluffy, horizontal growing, going direction kind of lines, almost look like a hand symbol. So somebody decide to differentiate them by tilting the left on the top would be hair, tilting toward the right will be hand. So this is 5 finger hand. And we also have 3 finger hand symbol, mostly. If it's a 5 finger, that means it's really talking about the hand gesture, what the hand is doing. And over here, something attached to, in the location, those almost look like a left hand, right? And then something attached to the left hand right there. And I interpret it as something you're holding in your hand, even if location-wise, it looks like this, like right below your hand. The wrist of your hand, it seems like not in your palm, not you're holding onto it. But if you place an object next to the hand, it already gives it meaning as you're holding it. So you're holding crops, gathering them together. That's the logic build up. Okay, 秩序井然, gather into an order and well. So, okay, even if I translate it as well, here this 井 means the drinking well or the farming well. It's not adverb to describe how orderly that is. It's not well ordered, well gathered. No, it's not that. It's a noun. But in the noun, when we add 然 becomes like a look like, as if like having the vibe of this well. So what does well represent? If you look at the well symbol, it has horizontal lines too, vertical lines, 2 of them, crisscross like that. That's like the English pound sign, right? And Chinese use that to mean well, and eventually I figure this well could mean could be ancient irrigation system when you have this lotted farmlands for different households, and the way to access water would be, I mean, it would be most reasonable to have a water well placed in the center, in the middle, which is right here. And then this is with 2 horizontal lines, 2 vertical lines, you basically divide the space into 9 little squares, right? And the well, the water source, would be sitting in the middle. And each piece of land then would have almost like equal distance to the center of the water source. And that gives you the sense of how things are well planned out. Things are so well planned out, thought out, laid out, and so that the resources can be spread out and shared and to have the best efficiency of irrigation. And that's how I view 井然 then means well planned. And when we have a 秩序, 井然秩序 means you gather something and you put them in a certain sequence. That's already putting your thought to it. And then you add 井然. And I guess 井然, this idealized irrigation system in the ancient farming society would be the epitome of well thought out, well in order, spatially in good order, optimal order. So that's the ancient optimization, I guess. So 秩序井然 simply means perfectly ordered or sequenced. Normally it talks about big event, kind of event planning. You have so many different sequences of things to happen for it to come together. Finally, everything happen at the right time and slot so that it's a perfectly coordinated event. That's how we use 秩序井然 to describe such. 期序受成, in this case, this is 序, this gather, then become a particular, it turns and into a different dimension, apply it to the time of 10 years. And this 序, almost like you're gathering time. And somehow it convert into a decade. And we know ancient times people's lifespan was way shorter than today. And so a decade back then would feel like way longer than today, right? So a decade back then, almost like one decade childhood, one decade youthful, and then get married and get reproduce in the second decade, the third decade, you're almost done, right? So in ancient times, decade would be a way longer, feels like way longer in relative to the lifespan. And 期序 means a seven, somebody who made into the seventh decade. And that would be accomplishment. It's kind of centenarian in today's time scale. Somebody in ancient times, medical care system, nutrition, and I guess habitat as well, all that environmental technologically supported living conditions back then, if they can make it into a seventh decade, that's accomplishment. So we say 7 decade 期序, 寿成, 寿 means longevity, 成 means time. So that's the ancient times do not die ideal. If you make it into seventh decade, that's like longevity already. Okay. 天序有理, sky order. In here, I didn't use gather. I kind of 志 and 序 in here, even if it's gather and order, if I unpack it, and eventually the two blend. And so this gather means by default, if you gather something, you don't want to jumble them together or put them together in an orderly way. So this gather eventually extend into orderly again as well. So 天序有理 means sky order with logic. That 天 in Chinese symbolize nature. Symbolize, if we use the Christianity term, symbolize the creator. 天序 would be in creator's planning of gathering things together, laying out the world. Then 有理 means humans, we recognize this creator have its logic. So 天序有理 would be Chinese way to say, however the world operates or whoever put it together in a certain sequence, it has its logic. So it's a very, I guess I have a certain human awareness and humbleness to face nature, to recognize, even if it may not happen, things may not happen to your wish. Then you recognize there is a logic, there's a reason behind it, you just don't know it, and you let it be. So that's 天序有理. And here I'm showing the stacked up harvest, gathered. Uh, I'm not sure it's crops or just hay stacked up. And that shows a gather because when you gather something together, you got to bundle them together in a certain way so that when they pile up together, it's still accessible. If you want to look for a particular something in there, like a needle in the hay situation, you can still possibly do so if you put things in an order in a systematic way enough. And that's should gather implied order. All right. Thank you for your time. See you another day.